What you have in front of you is a workbook that's going to show what we're about to share, the information which is going to rock your world. And then we also do a variety of things that whatever it takes so that the real estate people have a positive, confident view of their self-worth, and they take a stronger, more focused person into their business experience and get results more quickly. And we're very determined that that happens, and we know how. And then on top of it, not only have we had results with what we're about to teach, not only have we had results, but in 2010, the prestigious universities of Harvard Business School, MIT School of Business, Wharton School of Business, Stanford, and so forth, started pouring out information about the new way to be in business in a new age. So we're going to talk about what was the age we were born in and what is the one we're in now, and how does that impact our business, and what is our activity to support an outcome that is an outcome that we want, which is results. We want results. And so because everyone in this room, for the most part, is on commission, wouldn't you want a result with one meeting? I'm going to take that as a yes. A silent yes, but yes, you know, I want to have one meeting. I want to have one phone call and have something happen, not over the course of time, kind of be, you know, I'm sorry to say endure, but sometimes it is endure social dynamics. You know, like, oh, that was so great, we got to golf together, and you know, so what's our next step? And we don't quite say why we're there. We don't quite say we're interested in building with you out of the gate. And that's what's powerful, and we're going to talk about that. And to have these prestigious universities come out with all this information that's a match for what we're teaching was just like, you know, manna from heaven. And so what we've now done, Jim and I together, we've organized this in a way to give it real estate speak. So it's going to be specific to your issues and what you're trying to accomplish. So Jim is wonderful. He's going to do some parts. I'm going to do some parts, and then we're going to wrap up, and we're going to finish on time. That's my growth development opportunity, to finish on time, right? For those of you that know me, I get into zones that are fabulous, and I love you all so much. And the courage that you display every single day because you go outside blows my mind. I don't know how you keep doing it, but you do with very little support. And so one of my dreams Jim knows about, and that we've talked about many times, and Fidelity just naturally does, is, so how many, let me say it another way, how many companies are out there, mortgage, title, that say, you know, should you happen to get a deal, will you give it to me? Okay, all of them, except, right? Because what Fidelity's saying, and what they don't even know, bless their hearts, that what they're doing is actually pouring out of these prestigious universities. And they're doing it sort of instinctively, because what they're saying is that, you know, if we help you grow your business, when it comes to title, you might choose to consider us, but it's your call, because we're being of value to you, not with an agenda, not a hidden one, or an unspoken one, or an outspoken one. We'll do this if. This is called unconditional value that's offered. And I'm telling you, as an organization, they are following this to the letter, and they don't even know it. They're doing it because it makes sense. Wouldn't it make sense? You help people get business, and where's it going to go? Right, to the people that help you get the business. I mean, that's fundamental. So what we do is we show you how it would work for you. So this is an overview about where did we all come from, what's going on, and what do we do? And we're going to like really narrow it down. Also, we do other series, Jim and I together. We call it the Power Series. The next one we're doing on the 25th of July at Jim Fidelity's Peakview office is called The Power of Momentum. So this is where we keep polishing people's, you know, practices so that their result turns into something. And one of the things a lot of commission-driven people miss out on is the momentum they launch at the meeting. Do you know how many here have like launched a meeting with a builder developer, for example? And when's the next time we see each other again? Right? I mean, it's not. We need to keep the momentum going where we get it started. So we talk about what is a momentum, how do you get it going, and how do you maintain it, exactly what you do. So this is fabulous. We have the power of commitment, we have the power of intention, power of integrity, power of focus, power of value. So it's a very cool series we're doing for like 90 minutes at a pop. So we present for an hour and kind of group coaching for the half hour. It's fabulous. People are really loving it. And we do this other one that's fantastic we just did in Fort Collins, Loveland as well as here, is the dynamics present when receiving a goal. So it's like we all want things to happen. We want this house, we want these dollars, we want these clients, we want this access, we want these opportunities, we want whatever we want, right? So what's involved in launching, receiving a goal, and what's happening when you get it, when it comes in? And if you look up in the dictionary, so it's called, well, right, because we say goal setting. How many years have we said goal setting? Have you done your goal setting? The goal isn't to set it, the goal is to get it, right? So we call it goal receiving. So I looked up in the dictionary because I love words. What does receiving mean? And check it out. Do you know what receiving means? Goal receiving? Receiving means to allow in. Now that was a big aha for me because we go get goals, right? But are we allowing it in once they're in our presence somehow? Are we letting it in? And that has to do with a worthy scenario and some other things. Do you really want it and stuff? So we clean all that up, and it's powerful and it's fabulous. So we also have in front, so please come on the 25th if you like. There's no agenda, nothing will be sold to you, and you'll see this again and again. We keep our word on that because we want you to experience one situation where you're served because we feel like it and we appreciate you for all you go through to make things happen, because you have the courage that is so rare in any other occupation, to have the level of courage you do, and fortitude and willpower and sustainability and all the stuff that you do to inspire yourself. Okay, so we're going to get started. So most of us were born in an age that we refer to as the industrial age. Does anybody know what that means? What industrial age means? Have you heard it in terms of machine age? Okay, so machine age is like manufacturing things. Refrigerators, cars, you know, steel, stuff. They just make things. And so the methodology to make things needs to have 5 fundamental characteristics for it to produce something. And this was an age we were all born in, and so these are the methodologies that they look for. First of all is control. They have to control the outcome. If you're making a car, it has to be the same way every time, each time, flawless. Same. Control. Because then if they can control what everybody's moving and doing, then they can predict outcomes. They need to predict outcomes. So that means, well, if somebody's taking, you know, let's say when it was done more by hand kind of thing, or even with the machines now, and they're saying, okay, it takes this long to put the tire on, this long to screw the bolts on, this long to get the steering, but it's this long to, you know, put the padding on, blah, 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 like that. Then they evaluate, okay, so with that speed, we get this money, right? Industrial age has to do with how fast can you do something. It has a fast in it. How fast can you do something? So to make it fast and to make it efficient, everything has to be standardized. Everything. It's got to happen, you know. And there's examples of that now. There's not just manufacturing, but places like McDonald's, the functions like that, because everything is standardized. And you can go, I went to Starbucks in Tokyo in last April, and it's exactly the same. I mean, exactly. Tastes the same, looks the same, you know. And so it's because it's standardized, because that's how they control things. Right? And so what they want is faster is better, because if they can make the car faster, if they can produce more drinks, if they can produce more food, if they can outsource it, you know, meaning within their system, faster, they make more money. And that's the goal. That's always been the goal of industrial age anything, is how fast can we get this done and how much money can we make if we make it faster. Okay? Now, here's what's happened. I'm going to just fast forward to where it's at now. Okay, I'm going to just share. We have materials here. We will send you copies of all these books if you want, meaning the names of them if you want to buy them. This man, Peter Senge, this information we're sharing now has come out of this book. He's an MIT top guy, professor in their MIT Business School. And what he's saying is a couple of things. He's saying that what's happening in America that's causing a challenge for our economic strength and sustainability is we're using machine age methodologies in what they call now global information age. Is very different. That's one part. What was that event we went to? The Economic Summit that was done downtown? So Jim and I went to this summit downtown, and lo and behold, what they said is that our gross national product now, do you know what it is? Service. Service. 80% of our gross national product is service. So what does service mean? Serving each other. Okay, what does service each other mean? So when you actually are serving someone, you're interested in what is in their best interest, not how much can I get off you and how fast can I get it, right? So when you have systems that are still in the methodology of machine age, hurry up, how do you hurry up and make a relationship? Hurry, be my friend. I got 6 more people I have to see today to make my goal. You see? That doesn't work, but that's what's happening. Hello, welcome. You're sitting up here if you like. Please come on in. Thank you. So the idea is that we need to just take a look at what are the characteristics. Now we know, most of us were born in this machine age idea, right? So it's not like a big leap to understand it. Did everybody get that? Any questions on that? But if you're in, so here's the characteristics of what's called the global information age, also in this book called Presence. This guy is now becoming a top consultant in the world on these subjects. What we have is application. See, we've applied these principles for some time now. So we have the what do I do part, so which is very cool. So this is the book to take a look at some point. Okay? So what he's talking about, what Peter Senge is talking about is presence. You know what it means when you say, are you present? Focused here and now. There's a great book, by the way, by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. And it's like, how do you stay in the present moment? Now, the cool thing about The Power of Now is that there were studies done on what was the efficiency, outcome, and amount of production when everybody participating in whatever that job function was present. And it was some increase, like 300 and some odd % more, same people. Because think about just our own experience. How often are we here, but we're not here? Because we're thinking about something else. What we got to do, this other thing, did I make that call, did I do this thing, blah, blah, blah. So we're not really in the present moment. And that's where we have all of our influential power. So the subject that Jim and I talk about, the heart of this, all this teaching has to do with effectiveness and productivity. And we want that for you because you, with all the courage that you display every single day you go outside alone, right? We want you to win the moment you do something, not over 6 months. You know, social dynamics. Now, even though service industry means relationships, not every relationship needs to be social. And when I have a business relationship or I'm starting a business relationship, I really say straight why I'm here. The reason I'm here is to explore what it would look like if we were to build together. Right? How often do we say, love that shirt on you, fabulous? You know what I mean? Oh, you're fish. Me too. When did you fish last? Okay, now so look at the time involved in that kind of conversation. Like, nothing wrong with social graces, but there's something very effective when you show up at a meeting and say, the reason I'm here and I chose you specifically on purpose, not accident, because I heard these great things about what you're up to and I wanted to explore what it would look like if we were to build together. That's a very powerful conversation to have out of the gate. I can promise you, in any situation. Is very cool. And so the global information age, so presence is the first thing, is the first characteristic to look for to be effective and productive in this age that we're in now, global information. The next one is called letting go of old identities. This is the hardest of all for people to do in a business setting. Why? Because the machine age methodology did have, hey Jody, thank you so much for helping everybody with parking passes. Phil and Jody, thank you for what you did, really appreciate it. And so, so letting go of old identities, what that means is that I was a commercial banker, and my job was to knock on doors of companies and invite them to bank at my bank. And I started working with escrow companies and title companies, which is how I've been around title such a long time, also. And so we were just taught, and I followed exactly. You make this many calls, something's going to happen. Count on it. Well, what I realized later, it's called law of average. Of course something's going to happen. So you can count on, if your choice is CNN, hearing about all the bad stuff in the world, right? Or make 200 calls, make your 200 calls. It's a much better deal because you will feel better at the end of that day because you're proactive. And you're self-determined to make something happen. And something will happen, just the sheer volume. But there's another way to go about it. And that isn't the only way to do business. Like people say, I hear in real estate, the only way you're going to win in real estate is to call, pick a subdivision and show your face everywhere and put stuff out and print things and knock on doors and all of that kind of stuff. And that's one way. And I'm not saying it doesn't work, but there's another way that's more effective. And we're going to talk about how to apply these principles to the real estate coming up, okay? So being open beyond one's preconceptions. So my preconceived idea is you have to work hard to get money. How many people, my parents especially, pounded that in my head and my brothers? You have to work hard to make money. Okay. So that's our preconceived idea of how getting money works. We have to work hard, okay? What if it were possible? What if it were possible to create financial wealth not by efforting but allowing it in? I mean, wouldn't that be cool? Do you believe it's possible? It is possible. We see it again and again after these events with people. I'm telling you right now, straight out, it's possible because we do it. And we call them, it happens so much, we call it out of the blues, right, out of the blues. And so I say to Jim, I haven't gotten out of the blue in like 3 whole days. There's something up with me inside. I got some kind of idea going on because I'm looking for my out of the blue. It's not showing up. Where's my out of the blue? Right, and then you correct your intent in some things, which Jim's going to cover that. It's brilliant what he does. Next part is called Serving the Evolution of Life. Okay, I'm going to give this part real estate speak. Serving the evolution of life is what they're saying, meaning it's not about, the conversation is no more about, I have this, will you buy it from me? That's kind of a yes or no. I have this, will you buy it from me? That's a yes or no, right? So I talk with real estate people all the time. We do some coaching and some things and to help them, we throw them over the finish line, we call it ourselves. And we help them sort of sort out what client they would like to have and prefer. So we sort that out first because that matters. And then let's say you pick divorced people. So what is the stat? 52% of people married or divorced. I'm in that stat. Half of them are men, half of them are women, right? And so when I was getting divorced and talking with some folks when I lived here before, and one of the honestly went, oh my gosh, you're getting a goody, 3 deals, I said, I'm sorry, goody, 3 deals. Sorry, did I just actually say that? See, my life just ended, and goody, 3 deals. Okay, that's sort of, might not be a match. That's true, by the way. And so I thought, okay, well, what's going on? So I always look at business as a human issue. Like we're dealing with human beings, and there's stuff going on with all of us. And when people want to do business with people to understand them and not need them. So when you understand what's going on with someone in that situation, there's more going on for the women, certainly, and the men. We have sort of different ways of interpreting that scenario that are going on that exceed just finding another house. Okay? So it's a quick story. I coached a woman over the phone, actually. I never met her, in San Francisco. She was a Keller Williams agent and she had been divorced and wanted to focus on divorced women. And she created this, so it wasn't just about, you got to find another house, we're your team. She said, we've got some things going on for women divorced. So one of the things we have is a financial planning person that helps you get control of your dollars. Because now you're managing them yourself, and it's important that you understand how to manage your dollars. Number 2 is there's some attitudinal things that you need to take a look at, because when a lot of people myself included, view divorce as like a failure. How could you fail such a thing? What did you not see? I mean, I was kind of like that person. So I kind of beat up on myself for a while about that. It was like a year, by the way. So that's a long time. So I thought, if you're going to serve evolution of life, wouldn't it be great to have someone on your team that might be a life coach that specializes in women starting again? So what ended up happening, got a couple people, every woman she invited on her team, her component was real estate. This other woman's component was actually creating environments that heal as a designer. That's a color thing, I don't know if, it's not my area, but it's somebody's area, right? And they create these magnificent environments that just the way it's set up expedites a healing process for somebody. And very cool stuff. And then somebody let's get charge of your money, because the other stats on women divorce and they get a settlement, money gone, 3 years. It's like 3 to 5 years, it's all gone, right, for all kinds of things. You know, in part in search for another man to marry, do you see? So, and then it's not managed, and that's a big problem. And some of the settlements are substantial, still gone in 3 to 5 years, right? So this realtor, she goes on a radio show. This is in San Francisco. Big sales. Teeny little places, you know, $2 million. Anyway, so she goes on the radio with this woman that creates environments that heal. And all she talked about was, on this radio show, was what we do is we have a whole team of people that serves the women so they can restore their personal financial empowerment more quickly. That is serving the evolution of life. That's what it looks like that idea. It's not, and then we aren't shy. My component's the house, so I do the real estate piece. So because in real estate, you're actually solving both of those. It feels better to be in a home that you own, and it makes money while you're sleeping, doing other things. So I take care of that piece for you, right? Totally different approach. And on the radio show, they were bombarded with calls because the other woman said, I create environments that heal so you get through this more quickly. I asked her actually on the coaching call, I said, so help me understand that. Is that like I'm on my way to the kitchen and I walk by a yellow sofa and I'm healed? Is that how that works? You know what I mean? She said, not quite. But anyway, so that's what that means. So you choose who you wish to work with and then kind of what's going on, and you invite others to join you to serve that group of society. It's fabulous what happens. And these are where the out of the blues come. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. So, Firms of Endearment, important guy. Raj Sisodia, another important book. By the way, we have actually a picture of the table, so Jim can email or text you with it or whatever you want if you want all the names, and we also have them written as well. What he's talking about is he's talking about he refers to as conscious capitalism. He says it's a new business of caring. And to understand that what the young ones are getting in these universities now is this idea. It's that we're more than just a transaction, or you buy this from me. It's more like I'm interested in your situation because I am you or experienced or watched my parents go through or something. And then build a team to serve those issues, to help you expedite getting through that more quickly. That's serving the benefit of the people. And by the way, my component is real estate. My component is mortgage, right? It's like that. Unbelievable what starts happening. I'm just sharing. So anyway, this guy is another guy, Firms of Endearment. So finish the sentence. People will not remember what we said. They will always remember how we made them feel. Always. So think in your own situation. Somebody is selling something. And so what they're saying is, I'm selling this and it's really cool and my company's great and et cetera, et cetera. So should you need this, will you buy it from me? Okay, so that person is now saying, okay, well, sure. You know what I mean? Because that's the only conversation. But if you set up something to say, you know what, we chose you intentionally, we're coming for you on purpose. Because what we want to do is contribute to the situations that you're enduring, because we have ways of expediting rapid result through that. And then on the other side, you're building a whole new way to go about that. How would that feel? Have you ever been interacted with somebody buying something and they said they're almost not talking about the deal? You're shaking your head. How does that feel? Like you're perceived that you're not just a dollar. How many people like how that feels? Okay, so a way to sort of sort this out for yourself is, how does it feel to you when something like that happens, where the person's only issue is how quickly can you buy something And will you buy this? And will you buy it from me? And today would be good. To, you know, you might want to just take a look, maybe sleep on it. Because we want people to love what we do. You know, that's actually an abundant attitude. It's to say, we're good. So we want this for you. We want it to be in a way that serves you in a big way. Because that's our objective, is that it actually serves your life, improvement like that. It's different, right? So also, it will always remember how we made them feel, okay? So here's another one. I just mentioned this earlier, is people want to do business with people that understand them and not need them. Now, this is another very big example of global information age attitude. And we joke about, Jim and I joke about this. I said when I'm setting up an appointment with someone on the phone, I can hear them clicking away on the computer because they're vetting me before they say yes to 2 o'clock on Thursday. So they already know. So I don't have to go in and go, I'm amazing. Trust me on that. And I know everything about everything that ever happened ever, and I've done this forever, and I'm your guy. You know, I don't have to say that because I wouldn't be in the meet. They would not have accepted the meeting. That's another characteristic of the new way to be in business, is to understand that all people want to do is say, do you get me? I want to know if you understand me. So there's ways to figure that out also in terms of conversation. I did an event in Austin, Texas. It was a Keller Williams event, and their international headquarters was almost across the street. Kind of a lot of people, and the woman that introduced me was uncomfortable by standing in front of people and speaking. So she basically just said, best person, introduce Daryl herself, here's Daryl, you know, like that. So I was so inspired. I'm like, this is huge, right? Did you even catch the name? You know what I mean? So I got up and said to the people, let me just say straight, you don't really care who I used to be, right? And this huge audience went, actually, we don't. I went, well, I didn't think so. You might care why I'm here and what's of benefit to you. Yeah, we care about that. I went, fine, then we'll start there. I said nothing, zero, about my background, and it was the most amazing event ever. And what happened, and it was just really something, because it was all about them. And we need to pay attention to that, because I still to this day see people coming in. I've been this long, I'm $20 million club, I'm in the President's Club. By the way, those things mean nothing to the person selling their house, nothing. Nothing, right? Because $20 million club it's not their 20 million, right? And they're not getting that. So it's like you want to pay attention to who are we talking to. There's a woman, is she here? Is Sai here? Sai, are you here? She's not here? Okay, Sai, she's a managing broker of RE/MAX in Cherry Creek. And so she took these classes and just completely transformed, and her whole career and life changed, everything fabulous. And she told me about a listening appointment she went on, following these principles. Fabulous. She walked in, the first thing she did is said, and it was a man and a woman, younger, and she asked, were they married? They were brother and sister, and their parents, so she said, do you mind if I ask you why you're selling the house? And she said, you know, our parents died, and it's like time that we let go. So that's why we're selling the house. And she said, so what are the circumstances? Were you born here? They said, oh yeah, we were born and raised in this house. She didn't say, I'm amazing, by the way. Not a sound about that. She said they're interviewing realtors, what she said. So anyway, she said, well, if you were born and raised here, this must be kind of hard to let go of. They said, well, yeah, actually it is, because our memories are here. She said, you know, would you mind showing me the house? I mean, show me. So she goes to the kitchen and sees this, what is that called, mosaic? Tile mosaic behind the stove that's clearly not professional, and said, tell me about that mosaic. And they went, oh, that mosaic, oh, that was when we had a snowstorm, and our parents and I went around and we made that together. She went, that's got to be hard to sell the house. And how do you, that's a beautiful memory, right, like that? She went through the whole house like that. And she said, if you're interested in anything about what I do and all of that, I have a spiral binder on your coffee table. Read it or not, but let me say one thing before I leave. This is your home, and this is your choice. Do not let anybody talk you into anything that isn't what you want. because this is your choice. So thank you for your time. She leaves out the driveway, and the little boy, 5 years old, goes running out, grabs her around her knees, and he goes, "I'm Massimo," you know, like that. And the parents went, "That's our realtor." Done. She didn't say I'm amazing, even though she is. You know, she's a first-class professional every possible way you can imagine. And so, but she said, "I get you." That's all people want to know, that you get me. I'm just telling you. So that's a different kind of an approach, because in the old days, it was important to establish your credibility. It was very important to say, "I really am your person because I have done this 20 years and I've worked in this area and blah, blah, blah. And we have the best corporation and setup and service, internal dynamics, everything that serve you. I mean, it's really your best option." Okay, that was important, but it isn't anymore, because they wouldn't take the meeting if they didn't already look you up. Blink of an eye, right? Let's pretend for the moment that business is a game, because there's rules, there's competition, you know, all of that. So let's pretend it's a game. If it's a game, let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, what's the game? Help as many people as possible. What else is the game?
To win.
To win. What else is the game? Anybody want money?
Earn a living.
Earn a living? Anyone want financial freedom?
Receive more business out of it.
Receive more business? Grow? Right? Like all of that, right? Okay, so a question. Would any of that be possible? Any of these goals be achievable if you were not in front of people? No, right? No financial freedom, no deals, no referrals, no, if we're not in front of people. So the game in business just might not be the deal. But what it is, because the game of business, if you want to win in the game, if you're playing a game, you got to understand what's the game, right? What's the game? The game in our business, big time, and in anybody's business, is access. If you are not in front of people, there's no game. So if access is the game, then what's the question? How do you gain access, right? Okay, so here. The most expedient means to gain access is this is the teaching that we do, and we teach people how to utilize these principles in their business, whatever the business is. It's called value exchange dynamics. That's where you fundamentally choose who you wish to work with, what would be a value above and beyond your income stream, and who else is connected. Because then when you're talking with somebody or introducing yourself to somebody, you're introducing themselves to about the value that you're bringing to the table. The value I'm bringing to the table looks like this. We've chosen this industry intentionally, no accident. That's why I work with divorced women or doctors or whatever. You know, you're saying specific. So by the way, too, when in real estate, when they say, well, who's your customer? People say, well, you know, anybody can find anybody at home. That's actually not true. But more importantly, no one remembers you for that because it's not defined. So when you start defining yourself, I love working with people in relocation. You know why? You know what they go through in relocation, et cetera, et cetera. We have a whole team to serve. That's amazing. My team. You start talking about your team to serve a certain segment like you do your children. Like moms and dads talk about their children, they all light up like glowing orbs because they're my children. You know, they're like amazing and they got an A in history, you know. Okay, so the first is to approach from the standpoint of what's the value you're bringing to the table. The next aspect is what we call internal dynamics, working in cooperation with external actions. So the part that's so important about this is that how often have we done some doing, but our inside doesn't feel like doing it? We don't want to. I'm tired of these calls. I'm making the 200. I did what I was told in that seminar. I made my calls. I made my appointments. I knocked on doors. I dropped by somebody. I did all. I can't do it another day. But I have to because it's how it works, right? That's what happens inside. And then we go out anyway. But we have a begrudging attitude and wonder why we didn't get a deal from that day's doing. So if you're about to do any doing, it matters where you're coming from as a person. So you want to shift how you are being, right? So let's take another like kind of extreme example. Extreme example would be no dollars. There's no dollars. And there's no way I'm going to, get out of this month because there's not enough time to get a deal, get the loan, get the closing, blah, blah. What am I going to do? But I got to start somewhere. So I'm going to start here, but I feel scared about Friday when some things require dollars and it's not there. Okay, how do you go outside like that, right? You go outside like that, like, oh my gosh. And then, okay, breathe and what is it called? Suck it up. Guys hear from their dads, suck it up and do it anyway, And so, I'm sorry, what? I heard something, a comment. Please share. Grind it out, thank you. Okay, that's how guys and dads talk, right? You're nodding, so you're a dad, right? Is it true, Graham? But anyway, right, so sucking it up is not effective and productive. You know why? People can read where you're coming from, whether we like it or not, they can tell. Can you tell when someone's come in and they just had a bad day? Even though they're smiling and dressed right, dressed nice or something? You can tell because you can feel what they're emanating. Now, we have a very cool way of fixing that. We're transmitting towers emitting a signal. And I'm going to bring Jim up right now because he talks about how to correct that in a blink of an eye brilliantly.